Swing, ruin the flowers, who cares? I am from China. Climb a tree just for me. Fighting over a scenic spot for photos. It's Chinese tourist season. The mainland tourists took their bad behaviors to Hong Kong this year, and yeah, it was traumatizing for the locals. Using the subway as a public toilet. Rude behaviors in stores. Dump your noodle soup in the greenery. Feet washing. China has a tourist behavior epidemic, and they love to deny that it is the problem. Now that the May Golden Week long holiday is about to be over, let me give you the best examples of that. This year, it seems Hong Kong is the popular vacation spot for people to go to. Here, a beach since last month has been getting lots of visits from the mainland tourists. Obviously, locals don't like how it comes with a lot of contamination and some of the stuff that they leave behind, like garbage, food wastes, cigarette butts, and all sorts of things, and I think in general a bad vibe. In this news report, a tourist from the mainland was fined for dumping garbage on the beach, and his friend was interviewed afterwards, and he says this.
交钱不就行了？他有没有权利不带走这个垃圾？有吗？有没有？你可以叫警察来给他抓走。只知道不能吸烟，公共场所不能吸烟。刚才来这儿不是问了那个穿马甲那个吗？问他能不能吸，他说可以吸。
So basically, the argument, according to his friend, is that as long as I have money, who cares about manners and basic decency? Gotcha. Even when it's still inside China, or maybe they went to a different country than in Hong Kong, anywhere where order and civility is required, like lining up, it's bound to be bad.
说他妈华人丢华人脸，你是个华人，我说你是华人吗？华人怎么了？华人那没丢你的脸，华人我说华人怎么了啊？中国人丢你脸了，吃你的喝你的啦，没有华人没有中国人算个屁。
Okay, so this happened in Macau. A mainland tourist got into a dispute with a local motorbike owner. The mainland tourist angrily cursed at the street, saying that it's all mainlanders who are supporting you lots. Without mainlanders, you'd all have died. So this is fundamentally a reflection of the social backwardness inside China. People argue that only elders or older people have this problem, which we actually see is not true. But the argument here is not necessarily about the age, right? Because what they're really saying is that it's improving. It's what I think is fundamentally a social reflection of the current main direction of the country. And so it doesn't really matter because the younger people are still being poisoned by this, and it's not just of mannerism. It's a complete outlook of how Chinese society really is and why it forces you to behave certain ways. Here's one of the videos where street interviewees inside China argue again that these are bad apples and individuals, not a collective behavior of the entire country.
这是中国人自己不友好。看个人嘛，这个是个人素质问题。那有的人他素质差，他到哪里都是这个屌样，我觉得不应该上升到国家层面。
我很烦的，因为我原来在搞旅游的。你看我们的那个游轮上，那老年人把那个自助餐那个大虾啊什么那么海鲜一出来，全部抢光的。他管你吃不吃得光，他都抢的。哎呦，那个场面简直是我们看了很难受。这个需要时间，比如说随地吐痰啊，那个小孩随地大小便啊，还有那个一些乱扔这些手指啊这些啊，可能我们这代人不行，要下一代人不行，再下一代。
And this last gentleman goes to say that it may be an effort that will be a few generations before it gets better. Well, while improvements is possible, but it's not an age thing. Here's a Chinese woman highlighting those problems herself.
中国游客在国外不受欢迎，真的一点也不冤枉。刚刚落地首尔，真的被同胞们无语到了。首尔那个海关排队真的是有一点点长啊，然后一大群中国人就开始在那里插队，有年轻的也有老的，不要说 不文明的只是老的一代。经常看到大家在网上嘲讽印度人，但是当时出那个海关的时候，有非常多的印度人，人家都在好好的排队，插来插去的，全部是我们的同胞。
The great example is the comparison to nearby neighbors like Korea and Japan. Both arguably have a similar period of the post-World War II era. Japan post-World War II defeat, China post-Civil War, 1949, and Korea post the Korean War. Okay, yet the perception, okay, three Asian civilizations that have relatively a long period, obviously China being the oldest, the perception of people and their mannerism and behavior from those two countries versus China, planets apart. Because the common issue here is that all of these areas around mainland China didn't go through a communist revolution. And that revolution, usually revolution means a good thing, right? Getting better, evolve from certain things. China went backwards on its moral teachings, on its traditions, on its basic decency. The CCP essentially, through the Mao era of defeating the inner spirits to the Deng Xiaoping era of defeating them materially, so that money is, or I should say defeat them materially, it was more like chase the material wealth, defeat them again, this demoralization of the fact that money is better than everything else. Money is better than virtue, money is better than traditional values, money is better than family and society. And so we get to today, the social structure is materialism as the paramount resource. Civics take a back seat because bad manners and reflection of society is often built on what it values truly. And so a lot of times, having a good behavior doesn't get you anywhere, right? But nationalism, fragility, deflection does, because it allows you to focus on certain things. And those things are very much physical.
我标记了一辆载具。
9点坏了，不是9点坏了，刚修呢吧，走，太刚修了。
Okay, so I swear they've got some bad past experience with flowers on trees or flowers in bushes. Like, why? It's really not about the age of a civilization. It's about showing basic respect. And the CCP systematically eliminate the need for that. Because once you show respect, people might take you as weak. People might think that having better political intelligence, interpersonal power struggle skills, things like how to deal with others and how to one-up others, is better than avoiding, spitting on the floor, don't throw trash or cigarette butts, ruining the environment, or, don't cut in line. These things are not in your head because you feel like that you're constantly fighting against something bigger, and that bigger thing is, in my opinion, a force majeure that most Chinese people will never get close to, because there is such a segregation in society that people don't really want to or refuse to feel because the propaganda tells them otherwise. But the point is, keep these people busy, let them fight it for themselves, and at the end of the day, right, the credibility of the Chinese people is the one that suffers. But you can't tell me that this is somehow not a collective reflection. And obviously there's room for improvement, but I think the fundamental issue is that the party created this condition, and if you don't get rid of the party, then you can never, ever be back on a track to recovery. Thank you very much for watching this episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and your personal experience with Chinese tourists if you have any. Love to read about them. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to David on China and China Insider, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.